Shalom, hello international members. Thank you for tuning in. Today's sermon title is The Epidemic That Changed the World. The passage is from Acts chapter 24, verse 1 through 16. Let me read it for you. After 5 days, the high priest Ananias came down with some elders, with an attorney named Tertullus, and they brought charges to the governor against Paul. After Paul had been summoned, Tertullus began to accuse him, saying to the governor, "Since we have through you attained much peace, and since by your providence reforms are being carried out for this nation, we acknowledge this in every way and everywhere. Most excellent Felix, with all thankfulness, but I may not weary you any further. I beg you to grant us, by your kindness, a brief hearing. For we have found this man a real pest, and a fellow who stirs up dissension among all the Jews throughout the world, and ringleader of the sect of Nazarene. And he even tried to disgrace the temple, and then we arrest him. We wanted to judge him according to our own law. But Lysias, commander, came along and with much violence took him out of our hands, ordering his accuser to come before you. By examining him yourself concerning all these matters, you will be able to ascertain the things of which we accuse him." The Jews also joined in the attack, asserting that these things were so. When the governor had nodded for him to speak, Paul responded, "Knowing that for many years you have been judge to this nation, I cheerfully make my defense, since you can take note of the fact that no more than 12 days ago I went to Jerusalem to worship. Neither in the temple, nor in the synagogue, nor in the city itself did they find me carrying on discussion with anyone or causing a riot. Nor can they prove to you the charges of which they now accuse me. But this I admit to you, that according to the way which they call sect, I do serve God of our Father, believing everything that is in accordance with the law that is written in the prophets, having a hope in God, which these men cherish themselves, then there shall certainly be a resurrection of both the righteous and the wicked. In view of this, I also do my best to maintain always blameless conscience, both before God and before man." As you all know, it has been announced that the fourth stage of social distancing in metropolitan city area will be extended until October 3rd. We're experiencing the word we never experienced before. Last week, there was a pastor's retreat, and our senior pastor mentioned about the expression Corona Yellow. As you heard, the Corona Blue because of staying home or dispersion, and dispersion that caused Corona Red because it has so much anger. Now it's like yellow stage, like the traffic light. When it's yellow, when you're driving, and it make you confused that whether you should go or not. And misunderstanding of the world. In this today's text says, "This man is a real pest." It's like pandemic, like coronavirus. With today's sermon title, the COVID-19 virus has changed the world, and today's Bible text shows that the person who was rated as being like the COVID-19 virus, and that's Apostle Paul. He was in Jerusalem after his first, second, and third mission trip, and Paul brought the light by jealous priests and the Jews, and eventually the Roman commander of 1,000, Galatia and Lucia, he guarded in Jerusalem and sends Apostle Paul to Caesarea. This is because where there was a governor who ruled the area in Caesarea, that was Felix. He was governor in general, and it's been a while since we came back to this book of Acts series. So I'm going to read some verses for you to understand what happened before. That's from Acts chapter 23, verse 26 to 30. Claudius Lycia to His Excellency Governor Felix, greetings. This man was seized by the Jews, and they were about to kill him, but I came with my troops and rescued him, for I have learned that he is Roman citizen. I wanted to know why they were accusing him, so I brought him to their Sanhedrin. I found the accusation had to do with questions about their law, but there was no charge against him that deserved death or imprisonment. When I was informed a plot to be carried about against the man, I sent him to you at once. I also order the accuser to present to you their case against him. So do you understand what happened before? Apostle Paul, he returned after the third mission trip, and now he's accused by the Jews, the problems with their law. In fact, he tells that there is nothing wrong with the Roman law. Now, Governor Felix asked him to rule, and everything sorted out. Apostle Paul, he stands in front of Governor Felix in verse 1, and the high priest Ananias appears, and some elders and the lawyers and Dudulio appears, and Paul stands before those who are very powerful, like Jesus. He was surrounded by them. And in today's text, it says this man is real past, like pandemic, like virus. And it says, in addition, it's ruling that the ringleader of the sect of Nazarene, who makes all the Jews scatter in the heavens and the earth. And Apostle Paul was a man who was infected by Jesus. Infected means being subject to its control and govern. The Apostle Paul was a man who lived for Jesus because he was transit to him. Galatians chapter 2 verse 20 says, Paul is confessing, I have been crucified with Christ, and I no longer live, but Christ lives in me. The life I live in the body, I live by faith in the Son of God, who loved me and gave himself for me. Apostle Paul was a man who had been transmitted to Jesus. In today's text, the word growth, like an epidemic, is negative expression, but it can be changed to positive expression. People infected disease equals like people with influence. Apostle Paul was said to had been an influence on all the scattered Jews. And Jesus said, you are the light of the world and you are the salt. First, Christians are people who are transmitted to Jesus and change the world. and we must transmit to Jesus and brought under his control. You know, there's a reason why this COVID-19 era is getting longer because of due to the Delta virus. And our faith also designates like a mutant virus. And what are the most representative mutation virus of faith? It is a health and wealth gospel. The most representative mutant virus of faith is health and wealth gospel. Remember that. And we must have different standard of blessing. And people who are in fact with Jesus Christ should tell about Jesus Christ. And second, this Christian mutant virus is health and wealth gospel. I want you to listen Korean CCM singer named Honey. She sang Happiness. Try to listen to that song. And it tells us that according to God's will, that's happiness. We obey God's command. We get the blessing from God. And the power of Christians spread. I was meditating today's sermon Bible text and discovered what was the core Apostle Paul's power of persuasion. And he defended himself well. And in the Bible says like didn't have time to defend, and like they're lying. And Apostle Paul goes one step further than defending himself. So we need to have that one step, one foot too. And in chapter 24 says, "But I confess this to you, and serving God, believing in everything written in the law and in the writing of the prophets, he confessed that he also have wish for God." And third, the best strategy to change the world is not an excuse, but a confession of faith. Paul heard that this person, he's a real past. And Christians are like Apostle Paul. We're the real past. We're influenced by Jesus Christ, so we must be one who preach Jesus Christ. And best way to spread Jesus Christ is not defend or make excuses. Like Apostle Paul, he confessed what he believes in, and the world will change through our confession of faith. Sing praise the gentle powers. And two prayer topic. Let us be clearly transmitted to Jesus and be a messenger of Jesus. And second, abandon the health and wealth gospel and change the world with confession of faith. God bless you all. Have a peaceful and victorious week in the Lord.